What's up everyone, Jeff Miller here, Pinball Pimp. Last week I drove over to Clearwater, Florida and I bought me a Stern Spider-Man Vault Edition, which was released in 2016. Now it looks good from the outside, and it is, but the original owner I bought it from never slid the glass off of this thing once in 8 years. He just played it until a few things broke, and then he got tired of it, and then that's when I come pick it up. So, what we're gonna do is, the playfield is really dirty on this machine. We're gonna go in and obviously pimp it out with colored rubbers, probably do a flipper rebuild kit. I'm gonna put some black mirror blades on the side to really reflect everything and make it look nice. But the big ticket item is this red LED display from the factory. It's just not gonna cut it anymore. So I'm gonna spend the big bucks and get a color LCD display. That way, when the comic book animations are running on the back, it's gonna look really good in multiple colors. Anyway, let's get the glass off of this, let's assess it, order up some parts, and let's get to pimping this thing out. Okay, so now like I said, the outside of the cabinet is really nice. It's got this custom lasered out side rail that's really nice. The decal art is pretty much flawless. Coin door area, everything. Underneath the cabinet's nice, playfield. But what's really bad is you can see how absolutely dirty this playfield is, and you can see everywhere that the ball has rolled, and it's made it really dull. So all of that speck and black speckles and everything on there, that is dirt. So we're gonna get all this ripped down and get this thing pimped. You can see that one of the pop bumper skirts is broken. It's probably from the ball comes around this slingshot. It's probably hit it a number of times, but you can see all the dirt and the lines. I kind of wiped some of these down so there's not as much dust on it, but everything is gonna have to get cleaned, polished. It'll look brand new again. So as you can see, the inside of the cabinet, it still looks brand new, like right out of the factory. In fact, the goodie bag is still stapled on to the cabinet. Everything on the playfield looks brand new, like the day it was made, which that's a good thing. Okay, the code on this Spider-Man was 1.0, so that's the original. So I'm going and updating the code to, I think it's 1.01, which it gets rid of some animations in the back that don't disappear in time, and a few other little items, but we'll go ahead and get that taken care of. So we got the latest update. All right, let's dive right in. Time to grab my screwdriver and sockets and start tearing this playfield down. The clear posts on this machine looked a little dingy and yellow, so I ordered all new ones so they look brand new and crystal clear. These wire forms and mechanisms can be a little tricky sometimes. They usually have wires on them which go down through the playfield and plug into something on the bottom side. Most screws on a pinball playfield are number 6 or number 8, but they have different lengths and you just have to remember where they go when you put the playfield back together. All right, so I tore the bottom of the playfield down. I'm just going to work on this part first before I go tackle anything up on the top. But we're going to get all this stripped down, flippers pulled off, the extra rubbers. We're going to get all this polished up so everything looks like the shiny part and not that dull, nasty part. So here's the slingshot plastics, and you can see how dirty everything was underneath. All right, time to remove all the dirt and ball trails from this dirty ass playfield. My weapon of choice is magic eraser and alcohol. You don't want to scrub too hard as the magic eraser has micro abrasives in it and it's like sandpaper. Now that I've spent about 30 minutes with the magic eraser getting all the crud off the playfield, it's time to bust out the polish and get rid of all the dull areas where the ball has rolled. I hand polish all the areas 2 to 3 times, going back over until it's to a nice bright shine. I usually use Novus 2 or a good Meguiar's auto polish to achieve the results. When polishing playfields to a squeaky clean, the friction generates a lot of heat and it usually burns the fingerprints off of my fingers. And a lot of nicks and cuts on my fingers from little metal pieces sticking up out of the playfield like this. All right, well, I decided to come out and burn the midnight oil, and we did a little polishing on the bottom 2/3 of the playfield. And we got it back like glass. So tomorrow we'll reinstall everything back on the bottom of the playfield, and then I can move back on to the top section. So I came out last night when it was dark and I put a nice light across the playfield so I could see the reflection. I spent about 45 minutes hand polishing the playfield down. It looks nice, shiny, and clear like it's factory new. So I'm going to get the parts put back on the bottom of the playfield. Then I'm going to tackle the top of the playfield, remove the ramps and the vertical up kickers. I can get everything polished up, new rubbers put back on, and that should just about take care of the playfield. Then we can move on to the other things that need to be done on this machine. Well, now that everything's back on the bottom of the playfield, I'm looking at the manual to look at some of the mechanisms like the vertical up kickers. So when I go to take everything off the top of the playfield, I have some idea of how everything was mounted and screwed together. That should make it a little bit easier on me.
All right, now for the fun stuff. We get to start putting back on the colored rubbers and make this thing look better than new again. This game came with factory LEDs, but I am upgrading the flashers to give it a little more pop. Damn, look how nice this thing's going back together. And check out those crystal clear posts. I'll put on some blue rubber and some fender washers to protect the slingshot plastics and match the blue outline. I'll reinstall the apron and secure it with a couple screws. Then it's time to move on to the top of the playfield and start tearing off all the ramps and mechanisms. At this point, it's lots of screws, lots of wires, and lots of plastics. And another screw, and another screw, and another screw, and another screw, and another screw. Oh, and did I mention more screws? On the dock-ock mechanism, I had to remove a ball guide just so I could get to the 3 screws to remove the arch. I'll clean the areas under the ramps where the ball has never touched with a toothbrush and some cleaner. Onto the pop bumper area where I removed the 4 plastic lane guides. That way I can get in and clean in every nook and cranny. Once that area is all cleaned and polished up, I'll put the 4 lane guides back on with all the new red rubbers. Now it's time to scrub down Sandman and his 2 targets.
So I won't bore you watching me clean these ramps in the utility tub, but you can see how dirty they are. But it's all there, so it'll polish up nice.
Now that the top of the playfield is all polished up, it's time to install some new rubber bumpers. You have to do this in the right order because once the mechanisms are back on, you can't get a screwdriver in to replace them. Remember all those screws I took off? Well, now it's time to put them all back to where they came from. And now we're back to the Venom ramp. The first one we took off and the last one we put back on.
All right, everything's looking good on the playfield, but I can't put the ramp back on, it'll get in my way. So the next thing I need to do is address where the playfield had some chipping right here. I've got a Cliffy protector for the front, but I need to paint the back in a little bit. So I'm gonna match it the best I can. Then I'm gonna put a little lacquer on top of it so it dries nice and hard to get a little base and level it out with the clear coat from the factory. And we should be okay.
All right, time to get creative. I'll bust out the paints and custom mix some colors to match the artwork on the playfield. I'm laying down some paint mask strips so I can get perfectly straight edge on the black line I need to paint back in. I'll hit it with some black paint, and then when I pull off the mask, we'll have a perfectly straight line.
Okay, well now that I got everything touched up paint-wise, we're going to put the clear on and then let it dry for at least 24 hours, and then I'll put the cliffy on the front of the target bank right here. So we got the playfield all stripped down, polished up, and everything put back on except for the center plastic, the venom ramp, and a couple wire forms. Reason I couldn't put those on yet is I had to touch up the area where the Sandman and the center targets are where the playfield was chipped. So I busted out my paints, mixed up some custom colors, touched that area back in, got multiple coats of clear lacquer on, so now we're going to let that harden up and cure, and then we'll be able to put on the cliffy protector. Well, now that the clear's down and hardening up, we're going to go ahead and lift the hood and rebuild the 3 flippers. So let's go ahead and knock them out.
All right, time to raise the playfield and dive into the mechanics. The playfield bracket was in my way, so I had to remove it in order to get in to work on the right flipper. The reason I like doing full flipper rebuilds is the linkages get worn out and sloppy over time, which in turn makes the flippers weak. By replacing all of these parts, the flippers are nice and snappy, like brand new again. I'll finish up the flippers by adding some blue and red colored rubber. Now it's time to move on and remove the speakers. I'm going to install a speaker light kit, which really illuminates the back speaker panel and makes this thing pop. I'll repeat the process for the right side, then I can plug everything in. Now for that big ticket item, the color LCD display. I'll go ahead and put a brand new clear acrylic panel in so everything looks nice and crisp. Now that the display is installed and plugged back in, I can download the software and upgrade the code to the display.
Okay, so the speakers are done and the color LCD display is in, but we have to upload the code to the display in order for it to look correct. So we're going to do that right now. Okay, so I got the speaker light kits installed and the color LCD display with the updated chroma ROM. Next thing we can do is put the Cliffy protector on the target area. Then I can get the Venom ramp and the wire forms back on, and that should just pretty much wrap up this project.
Time to remove the 3-bank drop target unit so I can install the thin stainless steel Cliffy protector. Now that the Cliffy protector is installed, I can put on the last few pieces of plastic and install the left ramp. I'll go ahead and reinstall the right side wire form. And then the left side wire form. A few final pieces of plastic and she's pretty much done. And I always top it off with some custom designed instruction cards by yours truly.
Okay, well, Spider-Man is finally finished. We didn't have to do too much this game since it's a newer machine, but we did tear the playfield down to the bone because it was so dirty. Cleaned everything, polished, everything got put back, did put a new set of colored rubbers on, and of course we upgraded to the color display to match all the nice comic book colors. So the only thing we have to do now is check this thing out in detail, play a few games.
Spider! Goo on you. I'll never look at a sandcastle the same way. Quick! Oh, you. Play better! Tip from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man: don't mess with strange beakers. Okay, here's the ball. Now get going.
Well, nearly 30 hours later and $1,000 in parts, and Spider-Man is back on the job. I took this dirty machine and turned it into a thing of beauty. This game looks and plays like new, and of course, is super fast.
Well, that wraps up another episode here at Pinball Pimp. I took a Stern Spider-Man machine and I pimped it out and made it look and play better than brand new. But there's a lot more machines out there that need my help. Be sure and tune in to next episode where I shop out a 1993 Data East Jurassic Park machine that I bought from the original owner. And boy, is it a sight to see. Until next time, keep on flipping. Pimp out.
If you'd like to see more pinball craziness, be sure to like, tag, share, and follow me at Pinball Pimp.